Just when I thought I was out, somebody pulled me back in.
He's laughing his sick fucking ass off. He's a tight ass. He's a sadist.
Okay, when I introduce you, I'm gonna say, this is a friend of mine. That means you're a connected guy. Now, if I said instead, this is a friend of ours, that would mean you were a made guy. A capiche?
Boys, we're back in business.
Our true enemy has not yet shown his face.
Brother, you are going down.
Hooah!
That's what really got me, man. It didn't want to go. I wanted to go down there and kick it to death, right? I saw that dog for what it really was. What? Nothing but a dirty little whippets.
Hi everyone and welcome back to my Al Pacino retrospective review series. On today's episode we're covering a film that Pacino worked on during his career hiatus, during his 4-year hiatus after Revolution and between, that and Sea of Love. And it was only released in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, and according to IMDb this was screened at a museum, I think, in 1990 to a select audience. I think only a couple of Al Pacino's closest friends and colleagues got to see the film at the time. And the Pacino fans, like myself, only had it made available when in the mid-2000s when the Al Pacino Actors Vision box set came out, which had it on DVD. It included this film and Looking for Richard, Chinese Coffee, and the documentary Babylonia, which it's a nice little box set, I have to say. And all the films in that set were, personal films for Pacino. Obviously, the documentary was about him and his fascination with the stage and stuff. Yeah, personal projects for Pacino and financed and made, mostly out of his own pocket. So they're definitely personal, pet projects, I guess, for him. So yeah, the film, as you can see, we're discussing today is The Local Stigmatic. Again, IMDb and everywhere else has this listed as, either released in 89 or 1990. So yeah, this is the film that we're covering today. It's a stage play adaptation, adapted from a play by Heathcote Williams. I hope I pronounced that right. About two Cockney Londoners, two working class Brits who love dog races, and we just basically follow them around talking. So yeah, that's pretty much what this film is, but we are going to get into it a little bit, see if we can get something out of this film in terms of substance. But it's a film directed by David Wheeler, apparently guided by Al Pacino. Pacino didn't direct. He himself said that on the DVD commentary I was listening to. David Wheeler direct. He credited the directing to David Wheeler. He only said he helped here and there a little bit. He would go on to do other films where he would, go behind the camera and also act. But yeah, this one stars, of course, the man himself, along with Paul Guilfoyle and also Joseph Mayer, which are pretty much the three main characters in this play. It's a very short film, running about only 53 minutes, just about there. So it's not even an hour. So it's probably going to be a short review, this one. Because it's a short film and there's not really much of substance to the film in terms of as a film. If I were to take a look at this as a stage play or take a look at the script of the play or something, I would probably get more substance out of it. But I'm looking at this, of course, as a film. So, you know what, let's just take a look at this very interesting, to say the least, project, and see what we're gonna go for there. Anyway, here we go. The short little plot synopsis, and really all the synopsis you'll need, goes as follows. Two working-class Englishmen, Graham and Ray, played by Al Pacino and Paul Guilfoyle, spend their free time arguing about greyhound dog racing and Winston Churchill. They also read the papers, especially the gossip columns and society pages. In a bar one day, they meet a film star, played by Joseph Mayer, who they've read about. and decide to subject him to a savage and apparently motiveless beating. That's really all that happens in the film, to be honest. It's obviously a very, very heavy dialogue film, and that's the main meat of the film. Now again, this is a stage play that Al Pacino became really fascinated with as he performed it on stage over the years. In the 70s, he even performed it along with his close friend, the late great John Cazale. In a DVD commentary, which I do recommend for people to try and listen to if they can get their hands on it, Pacino talks in great detail about this project and what motivated him to do it, etc. But he did mention that even he himself can't quite put his finger on why exactly he's so fascinated and enamored with the play. Honestly, for me, this might very well be a great play to watch being acted out in a theater, I'm sure, but it doesn't translate to the screen all too well and isn't exactly the most exciting thing to watch on screen. A couple of years later, and in a couple of episodes' time for us, Al Pacino starred in the more successful stage adaptation of Glengarry Glen Ross, which definitely made for a more engaging stage-to-film adaptation. This one, however, while I do get the intent behind it and understand where he was getting at with this, honestly, this is a project which I can only recommend as a curiosity for the most die-hard of Al Pacino fans like myself, as I do enjoy his energetic and quirky performance in this. Although as a caveat to that, I do question just how authentic his Cockney accent is. I have quite a number of friends from the UK myself, and I'm sure, those guys, you guys, won't find it a authentic accent. And I'll say this, if people had an issue with his accent in Revolution, they would definitely have a field day with this one, I can tell you that.
What's that? On the left-hand side of his face, Ray. Was that a birthmark?
No, I just did that.
Wasn't I going to tell you a story? Listen. This man and wife go into a pub, and the man says to the barman, "I'll have a Guinness." And the barman says with a wink, "That'll put lead in your pencil."
But I do applaud the effort here, however. Doing an accent that isn't your own is very hard to do, and at least Pacino tried and did his best. Paul Guilfoyle as Pacino's friend in this isn't given quite a showy and energetic performance, but still does a fine job with what he's given, and actually works well as a balancing act, being the straight man to Pacino's more outgoing and quirky role. Joseph Mayer is an actor who Charles Bronson fans among us might recognize as the villain from the 1984 J. Lee Thompson directed Bronson film, The Evil That Men Do, where he played the evil doctor, villain bad guy role. He's an actor I like seeing, and he also does a solid job in this movie. Overall, as I mentioned, I cannot recommend this to everyone really. It's a niche little art film, passion project, and obviously Pacino never intended this for the longest time to be released to a wide audience. It's good that it's out there now though, and Pacino himself has said as much, but this will definitely never be a top Pacino film. But my final rating on it is 5 stars out of 10, and believe me, those 5 stars are purely for Pacino and my personal admiration for the man. Not a movie for everyone, but the Pacino fans will definitely get something out of it at least. So yeah, that's my little review of the Local Stigmatic. So there you guys have it. That was my review for the Local Stigmatic. Like I said, I mean, there's not much of substance in there as a film. As a Pacino fan, again, I do like his energized performance. He's very, jumpy, quirky, whatever you want to say, energetic. The accent, again, I have friends from the UK. They definitely, I think, might say it's not the most authentic accent, but I'm not British, so I'm not one to judge. But so I'll leave that to judge for everyone themselves. But yeah, there's definitely, I think, like I said, if people had a problem with his accent in Revolution, they're gonna have a field day with this one, I feel. But it's a nice little adaptation, I guess. I like I said, I absolutely get where Pacino was coming from. I understand that this was something he was drawn to. I understand that he had a fascination with it. But in the DVD commentary, he says like he can't quite put his finger on why he has this fascination with it. He just has it. This is what he says on the DVD commentary that I listened to. But that's the Local Stigmatic. 5 star out of 10 is my rating. Like I said, that's pretty much just for Pacino, and because I do understand to a certain extent the fascination, and that this was very personal for him. And again, he never intended this to be made available to the wide audience. At the time it was only in the mid-2000s when I guess a studio approached him, because I think the box set It's released by 20th Century Fox, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 20th Century Fox. I think they might have approached him and been like, "Hey Al, if you want to release those films, we can do it in a great box set." And I guess he was swayed that way or something. I don't know exactly how it happened. But I do recommend that box set, by the way, if anybody can get their hands on it. Not just for the rare amount of films that you get in there. Like I said, you get Local Stigmatic, Chinese Coffee, Looking for Richard, and a nice little documentary. But there's also special features on there, which are very insightful. Like I said, Local Stigmatic has it has an introduction by Pacino before the film starts, and it also has a discussion afterwards, which is about 18 minutes. It's almost 20 minutes. A very lengthy sort of discussion. Also, the director David Wheeler is interviewed in that post film discussion, and the film itself. You can play with the audio commentary by Al Pacino. So there's a lot there, and I guess the same applies to the other films. You'll have an introduction and afterward closing thoughts and stuff. It's an interesting box set. I do recommend it. There's a good amount of content in there. Anyway, that's it for this one. Next up, we are going to be tackling an Al Pacino classic. However, next up, the year 1990. We're in it. We're in the 90s, and in 1990, Pacino had two great films releasing: The Godfather Part 3, and the film we're going to be taking a look at in episode 3, aka the next episode, 1990's Dick Tracy, directed by Warren Beatty, starring Warren Beatty and Al Pacino as a show-stealing big boy caprice. And yeah, this is a great film. I'm very, very much looking forward to A, watching this again, and B, discussing it with you all. This is going to be fantastic. Anyway, stay tuned for that one. This has been Jeff 11 Bronson saying take care, keep punching, keep talking great movies, and we will see each other in the next episode. Hooah!